I came to Prague a couple of years ago.
I came to Prague, well, for the first time in 1991.
I first came to Prague in 1989, just after the Velvet Revolution.
I'm from UK, from Manchester.
My father's Czech and my mother's a Sudeten German. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., because that's where my parents met.
I have lived in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, New York, London.
My parents are originally Czech, and we spoke Czech at home, but I was born in England, as was my brother and my sister. And because my parents left here, left Czechoslovakia after the war.
One of the first places that my wife, who is from Prague, took me was here to the Rudolfinum.
Because I'm in the construction industry, the architecture, the historic architecture impressed me the most.
I remember walking across Charles Bridge in the middle of the day and there was no one on it. You know, it was really mystic and romantic and everything. And I was 19 at the time.
I brought you here because this place is very special to me, as is the city. It was on May the 2nd, 1997, that I first came here.
When I came to Prague, obviously I wanted to make friends. I joined a running club, I joined lots of other organizations, and then I was invited if I would become a founding member of a new Prague Rotary Club, the Rotary Club Prague International. So we had 1 year in 1997 where we were just chartering, and then in 1998, when we were a newly chartered club, I became president, the first president in fact.
Back in 1991, I finished my university studies at Georgetown in Washington, D.C. I studied international relations, specializing in East-West relations.
Traveled around the world, went to 6 different grade schools and 3 high schools in Denver, Colorado, Tokyo, Japan, and Montgomery, Alabama. Went to university in New Orleans and in England at Manchester University and the University of Virginia Graduate School.
I came in 1994, so nearly 16 years ago, and I've been living and working in Prague ever since as a recruitment consultant, mainly helping companies to find senior managers for their companies.
And then back in 1998, I got married to a Czech, and again, this was something that I didn't really plan. It just kind of happened. I was here visiting a friend, and she wanted to go to a Chinese restaurant, and I think I wanted pizza. It was one of those things, you turn left or right and your whole life changes, right? So we went for pizza instead of Chinese, and that's where I met my husband. And the rest is history. It was love at first sight.
When I first came to Prague, I chose to have an apartment in Vyšehrad. And this was my tram journey every day to my workplace, which was in Staromenska. So I used to come here every morning and every evening, and it was such a pleasurable journey because the most impressive thing I had about the journey was the ladies. I've never seen so many good-looking ladies in my life. So my journey to work every day was a joy, you know.
And while I was standing here, looking out over this fantastic city, I got the idea that one day I would like to come and live here. 5 years later, I was able to quit my job and come and live here and enjoy the wonderful life that Prague has to offer. But this place will always be special to me because it was on that day that I got this inspiration. I found out later that it's a special place because of Czech legend and because of Czech history, and it just made me feel all the better about it.
city is changing. It's so dynamic. Sometimes I have to say I do miss that romantic walk across the Charles Bridge when there was no one on it. And I know a lot of expats like myself remember that. You know, they remember even at the beginning of the 90s, before all the tourists came, how wonderful it was, how quiet it was. But then again, I think it's great that now Prague is so alive, it's so dynamic. You can't walk across the Charles Bridge without meeting anybody, and even at 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll find people walking across the Charles Bridge, and I think that's great.
Here in the Czech Republic, or I should say here in our district, it's the Czech Republic and it's Slovakia, and together we have 68 clubs. In Prague we have 8 clubs, and I would say that this particular year our club has been very successful because we've raised more than 2.8 million Czech crowns. We have had a number of activities. We have had a Caribbean evening dinner where we raised money for Haiti. We have had a big collection of money and fundraising activities over an 18-month period where we also got money from a Rotary Club in Florida and from Rotary Club Staré Město in Prague, and we put it together and we got a matching grant from Evanston, from the Rotary Foundation, and for $20,000 we purchased a very special minibus for 20 people. It was specially adapted for the physically handicapped, and this we presented to Blue Key, to the Blue Key School in Prague 4, which basically does workshops, has a school and a day centre for the mentally and physically handicapped.
Studentská haletka, tam je to zrnka. Studentská haletka, tam je to zrnka. Od ní se vyspala, poctivo ztratila nejedna pálenka. Od ní se vyspala, poctivo ztratila nejedna pálenka. Ale činu, nejedna pálenka.
Club meets every Friday, so she invited me for a Friday lunch. I came and I basically, told the club about myself and what I do, and immediately felt at home. I mean, great people.
The Prague clubs sometimes get together and have activities themselves together, and we're very much hoping that when a new highway and a new ring road is finished in August, September this year, that we will be able to have a very public race, probably a half marathon or maybe just a 10K, we're not sure yet. And all the Prague clubs will get together to organise that so that we can raise money for charity. We have just signed a friendship agreement with the Rotary club called Bristol Breakfast Club. They gave us the idea to have a dragon boat race because they've been doing it for 9 years. And today we sat down with them to work out what other friendship activities are we going to do and when will we visit each other.
The main event, the reason why I returned to Prague this time was to become involved in a fundraising event, a dragon boat race, and it was an amazing day. It was a fantastic event.
We do a number of charity events, of course, and this last one that we did was the dragon boat race.
The story started about 3 years ago. We had a visitor from Bristol, Rotary Breakfast Club, and Roger came and was starting to talk about his club and his club activities. And one of his activities was dragon boat race. So we were listening, I was listening, and then I find out that he was telling that they are making charity and they are earning about £50,000 with this kind of event. And I started to listen because I thought, well, we are doing also lots of activities, but nothing really big. So I went after the meeting to Roger and asked him what's going on, what they are doing, and he said, okay, I give you a contact to one of our members. He's organizing this event, contact him. So I did, send him a mail, get an answer, and get all information because dragon boat race are quite popular already these days, so cost money and how to make money with that. So that was the idea. And the idea was quite simple. So they asked all the teams or the people to sponsor a boat. By this they financed the whole event. And then they asked the teams to, the people in the team which will paddle, to start to collect the money for the charity. We got about 19 teams together. We collected already some charity money in, and we will still collect charity money in because we have decided that this event will not stop now, but will go on. So people have now the chance to collect still money in, and we will have in September a party in one of our Rotary partners' hotel, and then we will celebrate again the event and will award also these people who gave the most money for the charity. That people was happy, that they enjoyed, and it was, I think, really a fantastic day. I think everyone was happy. I just saw smiling faces, even my kids were smiling. So that's something. I'm quite sure that we will repeat it again. So it was our first event.
I just had so much fun, you know. I'm looking forward to doing this again next year.
Being a Rotarian is, I guess, a special thing wherever you live.
I think that Rotarians throughout the world have the same motto, of course, service above self, and we all want to have great fellowship and we all want to help other people.
What better way to serve the community, to give back, than to do it with friends.
My two sons came to Prague this Saturday to watch me in full Rotarian mode in a dragon boat race, and they couldn't believe it. They've gone away with some really happy memories, and that's what Rotary is. When we do something, when Rotary does something, there's always a smile on somebody's face at the end of the day.